Well, hey there, my farmer friends. It is Corinna from mydigitalfarmer.com and from Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. Hope you guys had a great Easter weekend. Today, I am jumping in again for my weekly marketing training for farmers. For those of you who are new to our community, I wanted to say a special hello. And I hope that you tune in every Tuesday morning with me throughout the season where I'm going to be sharing some kind of marketing or leadership gem for you that you can kind of munch on all week to help you get better at sales and feel more confident in your marketing. So today's topic is one that is very real for me, and I know for a lot of you. I get this from many of you when you write into me and you ask me for some advice. One of the things I hear a lot is, I don't know if I want to sign on to this marketing stuff that you're teaching because I feel like I'm going to sound too salesy. Do you guys ever worry about that? I know that I still worry about that, even though I feel like I'm doing pretty good at the messaging and marketing. It's a constant fear in the back of my mind. What if I'm going to come off too pushy? So that's what we're diving in today, and I'm going to be sharing with you some mindset kind of tricks. I don't know if tricks is the right word, but mindset shifts that we need to make in order to overcome that. Before I jump into that though, I just want to let you know that I do have a new podcast that's going to be launching on May 1st. I want to make sure my community knows about it because I'm hoping that you will choose to listen to me there every week. So it's going to be called the My Digital Farmer Podcast. You won't be able to find it yet because it hasn't actually launched, but on May 1st it will be live, and I will be shooting out an email blast to anyone who's on my email list, letting you know where to find it, the links and so forth. I'll also put that link later in this video as well so you can find it if you're watching this a few weeks later. But May 1st, put it on your radar. Every Wednesday I'm going to upload a new episode, and it's just another place where you can come and hear this same content. If you're not able to come into the group and listen to a video training, you'll be able to get one through your earbuds, whether you're in the tractor, in the greenhouse, on the way doing deliveries to the farmers markets, whatever you might be doing. So I'm excited about that. My Digital Farmer Podcast, May 1st. Tell your other friends and farmers about it because I would love to grow that audience. All right, so let's dive into today's topic. I think one of the reasons that holds us back from really jumping into doing marketing well and embracing the marketing strategy is because we have this fear of coming off as salesy. We don't want to be pushy with our prospects, especially with CSA. And why is this? I think it's because we've all had one of those negative sales experiences where, somebody tried to sell us something. Like, I know for me, I think immediately of a car salesman. The last time we went to get a new car, I really just wanted a few weeks where I went around and tried stuff out and got the lay of the land. And I just didn't want to be hounded by salespeople. And as soon as I walk onto the lot, they're like vultures crowding around you and getting your phone number and calling you and asking you, what do you want now? I've got another deal. And I just wanted to be like, stop, I'm not ready to be talked to like this yet. So we all have individual stories like that we've experienced. And I think we carry that with us kind of like baggage when we walk into situations where we now play the part of essentially the salesperson. And so it keeps us from knowing how to do this well. We have that radar on all the time. I think it holds us back from really doing this well. But I also think it's because we may not have the right mindset about how sales really should work. And that's what I want to share with you today. So I'm going to talk to you about some 3 mindset shifts that I think are really helpful. If you can kind of take these statements that I'm going to walk you through today and apply them, I think it's really going to help you. So I have taken these concepts and they have really helped me. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect at this yet. I probably still come off as salesy sometimes to people. And I know that there are times when I go overboard, especially too many emails. I'm aware of that, but I do feel more confident, more comfortable with how I'm like pressing on and getting better at this because I have learned these mindset shifts and I'm like saying them to myself over and over again, and it makes it easier for me to press on and keep working on this. So let's talk about the first one, okay? So when I say mindset shift, these are not like practical tips like, here, make this particular email, write it this way. Like, that's not what I'm going to teach you. I'm not giving you a super practical tip today. I'm giving you more like broad ways that we need to change our thinking, okay? And I'll be sharing some practical, how that looks practically in some of the examples too. But mindset shifts is referring to like how we have to retrain our brain to how we think about things, okay? So let's go. Number 1, first mindset shift is be a coach and a guide, not a salesperson, all right? Be a coach and a guide. So see yourself as a guide for your prospects. Now I know, so we have that fear. I don't want to be that guy, that gal that's pushy, right? But here was some advice that I heard, which you write this sentence down because I think it's really good. Sales is not something that you do to someone. It's something you do for someone. Let that sink in for a minute. Sales is not something you do to someone. It's something that you do for someone, okay? So when we see ourselves as a guide and a coach, we're helping the prospect decide if this particular product is good for them, will actually help them. We're helping through our messaging that we craft. Our job is to write it in such a way, guide them through this process in such a way that we help them get clear, number 1, about the problem that they have, and then figure out if this problem is something that our particular product or service can solve for them. Okay? So we want to help make their lives better. They're coming to us because deep down they're looking for something. They either have a need that they need scratched or they have a problem. Now, I've talked a lot about this before in prior episodes. You might be like, Herna, my people don't have problems. They're coming to me for food. Okay, so yes, at a very basic level, the problem is hunger, right? Like we all need to eat, but deep down, people who join CSAs are looking for something else. And part of our customer research needs to be to figure out what else are you looking for? Why is it? Because you could just go to Kroger and buy vegetables there and get your calories and get your food, okay? But you're coming to a farmer because there's something else that you want, another itch that you want scratched, another problem you're trying to solve. So if we as the coach and the guide can identify what that is and help them kind of figure out, hey, what's the reason you came to me? Is this why? Let's talk about what you're trying to solve. And then through our words, through the marketing assets that we create, we try to help them identify yes or no, this is the problem I want solved, and then present them with the solution, right? Say, here are some options to help you solve that problem. And your particular product is one of those solutions. It's not the only one, but it's one of them. So part of the issue here is that your prospect is like coming to your website or however they discover you in a state of confusion, okay? They may not even really know fully what the deep down problem is, what they're looking for. And so your job as the guide and the coach is to bring them out of that confusion and help them find clarity, all right? Help them decide if your solution is the right solution for them. And if it's not, it's not. And if it is, then the purchase becomes automatic and it doesn't feel salesy. So this really, really helped me when I began to sort of see myself, okay, it's not about just putting offers in front of people all the time. I really have to change how I talk to them and see myself, okay, I'm gonna have a conversation with you, either live in person if I do it over the phone or through email or through Facebook. I'm gonna try and build this relationship and start to guide you and ask you questions that are gonna help you figure out if this is right for you. Okay, so we need to craft our message in such a way and give them tools that help them decide. So what does this look like practically? So for me, I have created some what I call marketing assets that I think are like milestones along this journey that I give to my customer, to my prospects, generously throughout this process to help them try to figure out, hey, is this the problem that you have? Or is this the problem you have? Here's some solutions that I can offer. So I have something called the Harvest Calendar. I've talked about it before. It's a PDF. It's basically a chart of all the different vegetables we grow and when roughly we think they would be in the CSA box. This is a crazy popular download. People want this information. And when you think about it, this is helping guide them. This is helping where I'm acting as a coach and I'm answering this question for them, like, are you gonna like what I give you? Is this experience gonna be something that helps you? Is this what you had in mind when you thought about a subscription box or when you thought about getting a box from a farmer? These kinds of vegetables, okay? And some of them are going to open that up and be like, oh, this looks really cool. And some of them are going to say, no, this is too risky, or no, it's not really what I want. I can solve this problem another way. And that's what I want. I want to help them decide yes or no, definitively. So I have created these marketing assets to help them decide. Do you see how that works? So I'm acting as a guide and as a coach. And the way that I build my messaging is creating these things that will help them decide. Another example of this would be the sampler share. So giving them a trial membership, like, hey, here's a lower ticket price. You can join the CSA for 4 weeks, give it a shot, give it a try, and see if this is for you. Okay, so that's another way where I might coach them through this process of deciding, is this something you might want to do long term? Or I might share with them through my sales sequence, here's some examples of things that you might find in our training program. So we really help support our members, teach them how to use our product. We have something called the Membership Academy, which people can frankly just join without even being in the CSA. And it's full of cheat sheets and video trainings and ebooks for every vegetable, and a mini 1 hour course for how to succeed at a CSA as a rookie. And so, I tell people, here's a little snippet, here's an example of something that's in that giant library. This is an example of things that we're gonna give to you to help you learn how to use your food better, okay? So again, that's an example of a way that I'm guiding and coaching them, like giving them little teasers of stuff that they might have. And if it resonates and they're like, oh, that's awesome, then they're gonna feel like it's gonna become more of an automatic yes. If that doesn't really resonate, then they're gonna end up in the no camp. And that's okay, all right? Because if I see myself as a guide, not the salesperson, I'm actually just trying to help them figure out what they want. And I have to be okay with the fact that it might be a no, all right? So that's the first step, is to see yourself as a coach and a guide and really position your messaging in that way. The second mindset shift is this statement. It's not about the close. It's not about the close. And what I mean by the close is like closing the sale, all right? You have to let that go. We are not trying to get the yes at any cost, all right? I just want to help my prospects decide yes or no, either way, what's best for them, not what's best for me. And so it might not be my product. There might be 50, 60% of people who come into my funnel who go through it and are not feeling it, and they should leave. I should be willing to let them leave and go try a different way of getting what they need. Maybe it should just be coming to the farmer's market and buying what they want when they want. Maybe it should just be going to my online store and purchasing, as they go. Okay, that might be the better option. So I just need to help guide them through this process and realize it's not about the close. I do not look at this as do whatever it takes to get them to buy. All right. So that means that I have to be asking the right questions, guiding the conversation, helping them find their way, making sure that they get the right information before they decide to purchase so they can decide if they'll be a good fit, all right? So an example of this is, I've talked about this before, it's my Is CSA Right For You? The 6 questions to ask before you join a CSA. And this is a PDF that I created based on research of my CSA masters. And I've created a PDF, but I've also even created a video version of this, where it's a 3-part video series. So there's kind of 2 different ways that my prospects can find this information. Here's the thing. I absolutely want anyone who goes through my funnel to read this PDF or watch that 3-part video series, because to me, it's a way to qualify my buyer. I'm vetting them, right? I'm like, listen, you need to ask these questions. If you ask these questions and there's even one that's starting to make you feel uncomfortable, then you probably would not be a good fit for my CSA. And when someone reads that and hears me actually say that to them, it creates this totally different relationship. I don't come off as salesy, right? I'm like, hey, I'm being honest with you. I'm giving you all the information I can to tell you how this thing works. And if it's not a good fit, you need to really feel free not to sign up, because I want you to find the right product for you. I want you to find the right solution, and CSA might not be it. I think I say in that PDF that CSA is not for everyone, right? And it doesn't mean that there's that it's the best product. No, it's some people just don't get into it, and that's okay. And we have to be willing to embrace that and talk about that. So that's a great example. I actually share that PDF with you. If you join my email list, sharedlegacyfarms.com/DF lab, you'll get subscribed to my email sequence, my welcome sequence. And that's one of the things that I share with you. And I say, hey, use it for your own CSA. Just swipe it, use the whole thing. And that has been a really helpful tool. So that's an example of how it's not about the close, right? We create marketing assets that really help communicate that, hey, if you don't like my product, I'm okay with that. I'm just trying to help you get to where you need to go to solve your problem, even if that means that you don't join my farm, okay? So what does this look like for you? Think about, what do you need to create within your sales sequence? What kind of content could you create that would really help communicate this underlying principle of, hey, it's not about the close. I'm not all about trying to get you to buy my product no matter what. The minute you actually kind of confess to your customers, your prospects, that, you know what, I'm okay if you don't buy my product. This might not be for you. Here's what you need to know to figure that out. That is incredibly freeing, not only for you, but it changes the dynamic between you and that prospect in your communications, okay? So a sale is really nothing more than communication between two different people. And so again, our goal is to eliminate the confusion for that prospect around the problem that they're solving. And if the sale is a right fit, it's just going to become automatic. And if it's not, it won't be automatic, but they'll know where to go because we will have coached them, right? We will have shown them, here are some other options, and they'll be grateful for that. So keeping what's best for the customer at the heart of our sales pitch is so, so key. This is why knowing your ideal customer avatar is so, so important. I'm going to be coming out with a workshop where you can learn how to do research on your customer avatar. But every product has an ideal customer, and it also has a not so ideal customer, right? So we have to be willing to help our ideal customer avatars who enter our funnel discover our product and see that this solution is going to be great for them. But we also have to help those other prospects who are not our ICA be repelled. That's just integrity, folks. As a salesperson, you've got to be willing to just put it all out there. And that is why the clarity of our messaging is so important. So remember, it is not about making the close at all cost. The minute you make it so, you're going to come off as salesy, all right? Because not everyone should buy your product. There, I just said that. So, okay, number 3, mindset shift, okay? And this one is a really good one. See yourself as a doctor and your product as the prescription or the medicine, okay? See yourself as a doctor and your product is like a prescription. I really love this one. Your product should be seen as the medicine for your ideal customer's problem, whatever that is. And when you start to think of it that way and you start to talk about it that way, it becomes much more easy to sell. So in traditional marketing, you'll hear a lot, I even say this, that it's important for us to build rapport with our audience so that they come to know, like, and trust us. And once that relationship builds, and it may take, in our case, many months, maybe over a year, they might feel ready to plunk down the big cash to buy a CSA share, for instance. And you can actually make a sale out of that relationship. But sometimes that can feel a little fake, right? Like, oh, I'm going through this process of trying to build relationships just so I hopefully ultimately get a sale. So what I want you to think about, I was kind of, I heard this from one of my mentors, that where does a sale, let's just look out in the big wide world, where does a sale exist where there's no prior rapport, okay? No relationship building that's happened beforehand, but where they have enough authority to actually get the sale? And when you think about that question, there's a couple that come to mind, but the big one is a doctor, right? Like, my son fell off a hammock a few years ago and broke his collarbone. And I've also had a son that's fallen off his little slide in the back and broke his elbow. And we rushed them to the ER, and we found out, within an hour, hey, we need to do surgery on his elbow. It's really damaged. It's not just going to heal naturally with a splint, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know this doctor. I didn't have any relationship with him, but I absolutely was like, yeah, wheel him in. Let's get going. Let's take care of it. Okay. And, boom, the sale was there because I trusted the authority of this doctor. The doctor came to me, he had a tone of authority, right? You see this too, like other examples of this I would say are teachers. Like you walk into a lecture hall and the professor says something and you don't even question it, right? Like they know their stuff. Or I used to be in ministry and I remember feeling this big time. Like I would stand at the pulpit and I would talk and everyone out there would just like look at you differently and take your message in differently because you have this authority as a pastor or as a minister. So sometimes when you position yourself as an authority figure within your brand, perhaps because you're teaching so much, you come to someone with that tone, right? And so when we think about this mindset shift of, okay, see yourself as a doctor, someone with authority, and your product is like medicine. You're just giving a prescription. You want to help them. You know how to help them. And when you kind of talk about your product as if it's going to be the solution, the medicine for their problem, it just changes the dynamic. Okay? So sales is supposed to be a process that we do for someone, not to someone, remember, to benefit them. And it's not something that we do for our own self-serving interests or because we're greedy or because we need to make money. Okay? The sales is a bad thing. I think you know this intuitively, but let me just make sure I've said it. Sales is a bad thing if you're selling something that people do not need just so you can make money. Okay, so let's just make sure that we're people of integrity and we can look at our product and say, I know this transforms lives. I know this will help people because I have a ton of satisfied customers that stand behind me, right? I know this helps a subset of the population out there of my traffic. I just have to find more of those people. And when we can talk about, hey, this has helped people, this has been medicine for people, and we can speak with authority, that changes things. So what I want you to think about is what gives you the authority to sell what you sell? What gives you the authority? I think about, for me, when I thought about that question, I was like, well, I'm not a farmer. I didn't grow up as a farmer, but here's what I do, what I am. I grew up as a suburb girl, clueless about agriculture and about food. And then I married a farmer and I began to discover the story of food. And every time I made a new discovery, it was this aha moment for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is fascinating. And now my customers, my prospects are those suburb girls and guys who were like me, who don't know the story of food. And I know exactly what to tell them. I know exactly what's going to fascinate them, what's going to make them feel really connected and to their food and to the story of food, because I was there once. So I feel like I have the authority to stand up there and talk about this product and say, this is going to change the way you think about food. This is going to change the way you eat. Because it did for me and it has for countless other people that stand behind me. Okay, so I am now a guide. I'm a guide with authority because this happened to me. I had life transformation and now I've helped guide many other people behind me who've also experienced life transformation through the CSA. So what gives you the authority to sell what you sell? Think about that. All right, and then I have a final bonus mindset shift because I thought of another one before I started and I thought this was important. I've said this once before, but this is a good one. You have to earn the right to be salesy. You have to earn the right to be salesy, and you do that by being generous. So I learned this tip from Gary Vaynerchuk, for those of you who don't know who that is. He has a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And in this book, he talks about how you need to, as a salesperson, as a marketer, you need to lead with value. You need to give. So jab, 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 give, give, give. And then right hook is go for the sale. So his messaging pattern is to serve, 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 give with value, give value, give value. And then every fourth interaction is asking for a sale. So as a general rule, I feel like that's a good formula to follow, because when you're constantly teaching, in my case, the way this looks is that I teach. I show up on video, on social, in my emails, and I'm just giving content away. I'm sharing tips and tricks. So for example, we just did a 14-day Instant Pot challenge. Okay, so for people who are resonating with that, I've just taught a whole bunch of people how to get over their fear of the Instant Pot. And I do lots of challenges like that throughout the year for anyone in my audience who wants to watch it. I do video tips for quick things that you can do with the food, or quick storage tips, or something called green cubes. Hey, these are amazing when you freeze them and add them in later to your soups and stews. Behind the scenes stuff, what's going on in the field, the story of food. Hey, this is what happens to a broccoli plant when you don't harvest it. It keeps growing and it sprouts, and isn't that cool? Stuff like that fascinate my audience. And so these are every single time I do something like that, it's a jab, jab, jab. So that when I come in for a request to buy, when I come in with a post or an email about, hey, here's a sales pitch, the right hook comes in, I feel like I've earned the right to be salesy for that email, for that post, because I have already given so much, right? So it's sort of this idea of relationship capital. I've put investments into the bank, the relationship bank, and now I can take out a withdrawal because I have already given them so much, and it sort of evens the score. So, I do this with my email sales sequence that goes out to my CSA prospects. In most cases, they've been on my email list before that just by downloading my vegetable storage guide. So they've been getting a weekly email from me for like 6 weeks with a tip or a fun thing. So they've been learning a lot of cool stuff. So when I move into the CSA pitch, it doesn't feel as weird because they're like, wow, I've learned a lot from her. And I feel better about that because I know that I have already given a ton. The same is true here in this group. People are always like, wow, you give all this content away for free. And I'm like, yes, because I love to teach, I love to add value. And once or twice a year, I pitch a product that I, try to sell. And it doesn't feel awkward to me because I'm like, you know what? I've given a lot of value away for free. And I feel like my audience is going to be okay with the pitch as long as it's a short-term pitch. So earn the right to be salesy. And that means that in your marketing assets and in your marketing strategy, you have to create content that's giving tips, giving freebies, giving storage, whatever that looks like for you, okay? Teaching people. All right, so let's review the 4 mindset shifts. Number 1, be a coach and a guide. Look at yourself as a coach and a guide, helping someone decide whether they have a problem that you can help solve. Number 2, it's not about the close. Don't make it about the close, right? It's more about serving the customer, whether they say yes or no. See your product as medicine and you are the doctor. That's mindset shift number 3. And number 4, earn the right to be salesy. Be generous. Be generous so that you can earn the right to be salesy. All right, so how do you change what you're doing right now in your messaging? How will you change what you're doing to reflect some of these mindset shifts, okay? What kind of marketing assets can you create so that you begin to position yourself as an authority, as a guide, as a person who's like, hey, I'm gonna help you decide whether it's yes or no. I'm cool with either. I just need you to make a decision and I'm gonna give you every piece of information I can to help you, okay? So really think through some of that as you move into the future and you start trying to figure out a process for helping people figure out if they want to buy your product or not. And this is going to help you feel a lot better about how you talk about your product. You will not feel as salesy if you can really embrace these 4 mindset shifts. All right, that's all I have for you today, folks. Remember, if you're watching this later on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or give me a comment. Let me know if you liked this, a thumbs up. That gives me some important feedback. And remember, if you want to listen to my new podcast coming out May 1st, it's called the My Digital Farmer Podcast. And I will be linking up later the exact links so that you can find it in this video. But put it on your calendar, tell your friends about it, because I would love for as many people as possible to join our new community. Thanks for joining me. And if you want to get on my email list so that you can get those 6 questions to ask before you join a CSA, that's just one of the freebies that comes at you in that email welcome series that I send out, you can go to sharedlegacyfarms.com/DF Lab. It will tag you then as a digital farmer subscriber and you'll start getting that, okay? Hey, thanks for joining me, guys. Have a great week and I will talk to you next Tuesday. Bye.